100 half marathons that I had decided to run, it was for a purpose. And the purpose was very simple. I wanted to spread awareness about air pollution.
When you get into this food dynamics, let's not look at it that, oh, you have been doing it for 16 years. No. This is the way of life.
I have seen so many youngsters, right? There will be times in your corporate life, in your professional life, when the going gets tough. The simplest way out for them is change the job. And I always tell them, no, that's not the simplest path. That's a very convoluted path. The simplest path is just show up, face the music, go through it, and you will come out stronger.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of RunPlayGo-Unfiltered, where movement meets mindset and real stories of grit fuel the everyday athlete. I'm Shivani Singh, marathoner by passion and a sports media specialist by profession. Today we have on the show not one, but two stalwarts. They have conquered innumerable races, built careers at full throttle, and still find time to chase their goals and what's next. Sundeep Singh and Jyotin Bhasin. Sundeep Singh is the ESG leader, author, and 100-day running crusader. Jyotin Bhasin, HVAC veteran, marathoner, and community fitness beacon. Let's welcome them on coming on the show. Sundeep, let's begin with your 100 half marathon journey. What inspired that mission? What did it teach you about the mindset?
So 100 half marathons that I had decided to run, it was for a purpose. And the purpose was very simple. I wanted to spread awareness about air pollution. I think, anybody who stays in North India is aware of the pollution problem that we face, especially in the months of Diwali and winters. My idea is that everybody speaks about it, everybody has a point of view about it, but nobody wants to do anything about it. I wanted to do something about it. And the idea was very simple. I said, I'll do something which is unusual. Let's get the attention of the people, and in that window of attention, I'll start to send some messages that they should be doing in their daily lives. That was the idea. I decided I'll run 100 half marathons. My weapon of choice was shoes. And obviously, it was a big decision. I hadn't run more than 2 or 3 consecutive half marathons before that in 3 days. This was a big commitment, and I made it public. I announced it on the social media that I'm going to be running 100 half marathons in 100 days, starting 5th of March to 12th of June, 2019. And once you do something like that, there is no going back. It was for a purpose, as I said. And once the journey started, within the first week, I realized the enormity of the challenge that I had signed up for. 7 days and I was already done and dusted. And I was 93 more half marathons to go in the next 93 days. How am I going to get around that? But the good thing about the mindset is that it's very gullible. You can actually convince your mind to do things which you yourself believe are not possible. So that's what I did. My mantra was very simple. Don't think too far ahead. Just take one day at a time. Just show up on the next day, and then we'll take it from there. 6th, 7th, 10th, 25th, 50th, 75th. It just kept happening. I remember there was a point in time when my feet were swollen so badly that a normal size shoe would not fit in. And I had, and the 2 feet were they were differently sized. And I was wearing different size shoes in the two feet to keep the runs going. So yeah, in hindsight, it all went well.
It's incredible, even to hear about it today, and Jyotin, you would agree with me on that, even to hear about 100 days of half marathon, and here we all prepare for a half marathon, maybe over a period of couple of months to get the kind of effort that we put in and the timing that we want, and running 100 days of a half marathon each. Seriously, hats off to you. Thank you. Extremely proud of the endeavor that you took.
Thank you so much.
So just a little add to that. So as an athlete, what did it change for you, Sundeep, after that? It would have been a transformative experience for you to go through something like that.
It is. And see, when you run 100 half marathons in 100 days, there is a lot of solo time that you're spending with yourself. When there is nothing around you, you're just with yourself. So you start to connect within. You start to look for answers within. You start to question your life choices. I'll be very honest. I was questioning myself. Why the hell did I sign up for something like that? And I was doing that on the very 5th or 6th day itself. And when you start to do that, you also start to understand life much better. Absolutely. So for me, the big realization was that it all lays within you.
Absolutely.
There is so much noise all around you. There is so much media. There is so much information flux. There is so much points of view around you. Everybody's feeding you with information. And we always keep looking for answers. But the reality is that the answers deep within. You always know what is right for you. And that's what was a big change for me. The Sundeep of the previous years and the Sundeep after those 100 half marathons was very different. I also found that, I put some limits to which I could feel an emotion. No pain could be painful enough, no joy could be joyful enough, no sorrow could be, sorrow enough for me. So I just felt like I became more calmed, I became more controlled, I became more in control, I became much more aware of what's happening around me, and most importantly, I was somebody who would always look within, who will never be dependent upon others, who will always know what is right, what is wrong. So it's a very transformative experience. I mean, when you go through something like that, if you come out of it, you are a transformed person for sure. My friends tell me, my family tells me that you have changed. What has changed? I just say that this is what I am now.
And I think that's the beauty of sport. When we say it builds character, this is exactly the kind of experiences that you go through in life, and this is exactly the kind of challenges that you pick up.
Yeah.
And they shape you. So exactly like what you said, pre and post, Sundeep would have been probably very different people.
Yeah, and you also understand that humans are so much more capable of what you are consciously aware of.
Yes.
I mean, when you are doing something like that for 100 days, obviously things don't always go smoothly. I remember it was the 88th day of the campaign. I had already done 87 half marathons before that. 88th day of the campaign, and I think it was about 18th or 19th kilometer when my battery died down.
Oh my God.
And the deal was very simple. It has to be completely clean, because somebody would question later on that did you even complete? Yes. It had to be auditable. At 18th kilometer, I was pleading to my watch, please don't give up on me tonight. Please don't give up on me tonight. I was running faster just to get it done before the battery dies down. It died down. At 19th kilometer, it died down. Every day I used to go back home and I would write X days complete, X half marathons complete.
Wow.
That day, it was so difficult for me to go back and write 88 days complete, 87 half marathons complete. There is a backlog of one. I cried. I mean, I'll be very honest, I cried that day because I had accumulated so much fatigue that the idea of covering up that one half marathon in the remaining 12 days was almost like impossible. I was like, this is not going to happen now. But then on the 92nd day, just 4 days later, I got up at about 1:15 a.m. I was like, let me do a half marathon at night, and then I'll come back the next evening, so that within the 24-hour window, I will make up for that one backlog. So 93rd day I went back home and I was able to write 93 days complete, 93 half marathons complete. The backlog has been wiped out.
That's a superhuman effort.
Incredible. It's a story of, so near yet so far, right? And that's when the resilience of spirit comes back, of not giving up. You write there, but then you write at the end of it.
Yeah.
So Jyotin, just coming over to you, at what point did you realize that running had become more than a hobby? It's an absolutely non-negotiable part of who you are today.
Thank you very much. But let me first, give one more memory of his last 100th marathon. When I reached there, it was the last 6 kilometers which were left, and I found this bare chest Milkha Singh going all the way inside, and not him alone. There were his family who was there together with him, and there were almost more than some 10, 12 people around more who were, running and enjoying the time around him. I really felt, I said, this is the kind of effort this gentleman has put in, and it all started from the day, what I remember was when he was going to drop his son to the school, and there was a holiday in that school declared because of the pollution. I think that was a trigger.
That was a trigger. I was like, what's happening here?
What's happening?
Exactly.
I mean, schools getting closed because of pollution.
And that was your way of bringing the right attention to it and, doing something about it. Like you rightly said, we all talk about it, but...
when all is said and done, more is said than done.
Absolutely.
I wanted to change that.
Absolutely.
So for me, he's like a pole star always. So I always tell him that, okay, you are, that near so far, but you are always far. Okay, part of life, I'll watch you there, don't worry. My journey was started like a true blue Punjabi, to be very honest. I was working and I had already spent some 20 years in my career. And whenever I used to give presentations to my boss used to tell me he was an expat, and every day used to tell me, Jyotin, your weight is too high. How do you manage this? And this is not the way to give a presentation. Before the presentation, you get a half lecture, not on your work, but on something else in your life. So it just started off from there, and then came a scenario wherein we were pushed. Certain group of people were pushed into a system to go for a trek, to a mountaineering expedition for 14 kilometers going up and coming down and all that stuff. And there also I tried to, try myself to get out of it. But then the top of the organization guy listed the names himself, and I was in the top 5. That was the only time when I was in my top 5 wherever I was. So when I was on that trek, I actually thought that, I don't think I'm going to come back now. It's all over. I'll remain there only. I can't come back. But then as soon as I came back and I started feeling a bit light, I think there was a change which happened at that point of time. And that trigger went on, and it was, I wish to say that it was not ever calculated or anything. It was only a trigger to, okay, let's see what happens next. What happens next? What happens next? What happens next? And then it started with a walk. It started with some food realignment, some walk. And in a span of some 6 months or so, I found myself participating in an event of half marathon in Delhi. And when I completed that, I thought that this is not me. Yeah. This might be someone else who has done this kind of a job. I can't be the one who can do this kind of a thing. This was in the year, I think 16 years back. It was 2009.
Wow, 16 years journey. Exactly.
And since that day, I have been getting into this mode of every time looking at the result, of course, but more than the result, I am looking at, whatever I was, I think I'm doing something better than that. And that thing has triggered me time and again, every time. I have been moving on that path only. I've been only believing in that process, that it continues. Let it continue, and not as planned like my dear buddy Milkha Singh, but I have been only looking at few of the good people who can do this job and who have been doing this job much better, and certain specialists. See, I could not understand this business at all. I still don't understand much of it. What I understand is, be with the best guy or the specialist who understands it, listen to him, take advice and follow that. If you are able to follow that and lead that path, I think most of it could be done.
Absolutely.
There were a lot of psychological things which were moving at the back of mind, but what actually kept on triggering me to the next level was, if you could be like that, you could even be better than that. That's it.
So I think what I'm hearing is it's a constant journey of self-improvement, right? I'm better today than I was yesterday. I'm better this month, or I'm better in this race today that I just attempted than I was, let's say, 3 months back.
Yeah.
And so it's, you're just competing with yourself. There's no competition with anybody else. And I think that's the beauty of running. That at the core, at the heart of running, that's one thing that we all plug in. So what I'm hearing in your story is entirely about self-improvement. Starting from the point and today and going forward, it's not a planned path, but we know what we're doing and wake up every morning and say, hey, can I run better than what I did? And your entire lifestyle is then circling around it.
More than that, in a span of these 16 years or whatever time has gone in between, I've got so much and so many good friends around.
Yes.
So many lovely buddies around.
Yes.
They have been inspiring me, and they have been always changing my different kind of mindsets, into the next format. 100 days.
A very interesting question that I always have in mind is, how does your athletic discipline shape your leadership and decision making at work? Because we are at the intersection of work and sport here, and both of them come from a very deep place of discipline as well as passion. So when you marry both, you excel at.
Correct.
So in my mind, that's a connect. But Sundeep, especially in your case, you often speak about purpose-led living. So what role do you think does endurance sport play in your larger life philosophy?
So I'll take both the questions. The first one was about the decision making. How does endurance sport influence your decision making? So first of all, as endurance athletes, we are very well aware of what seconds mean. We are always chasing PBs and targets and timings, that I exactly know what does a 305 and a 306 means.
Absolutely.
And what a 304
We spend
means.
months
Correct.
converting that 306
Absolutely.
into 305. Absolutely.
I mean, in the past, I have missed BQ targets by 47 seconds, 48 seconds. And when you do that, I mean, when you have run for 3 hours, 10 minutes and 48 seconds,
yeah.
and then you realize that you missed a BQ by 48 seconds, which is to say that you missed 42 kilometers
Correct.
by 48 seconds,
48 seconds.
which essentially means that you should have just run 1 kilometer a second faster and you would have almost been there.
Yeah.
You start to realize the importance of time, right?
Correct.
And when a second can hold so much importance, then you realize how much a 24-hour day means to you.
Correct.
Now that really reflects in the way I interact with my team members. My team knows that if I find somebody is wasting my time, I get really furious. I mean, that's the only thing that gets the worst out of me. Otherwise, I'm always smiling. But if I feel like my time is not being utilized properly, I will really get furious. So that's one.
So time management.
Time management is the key. I mean, I cannot stand somebody coming to me and gossiping, or somebody coming to me and talking about something that went wrong with him or her. Figure it out. I mean, that's fine. Second thing, the big decisions. Any big decision gets taken on the track, not in the room, not in the cabin, not in the boardroom. It gets taken on the track. I know I'm struggling with something.
You're processing, and
of course,
it's your me time.
Just declutter. You know, that's
Correct.
the time when I completely declutter.
Correct.
There is no input coming my way. There is no influence coming my way. There is no kind of a dependence. I just connect with myself, and I invariably, when I finish the run, I have the right decisions with me, and then I trust them. You know, you have to trust your gut. I always do that. After the run, whatever feels right to me, I feel like that's the right thing to do. And I think with the advantage of hindsight, again with the advantage of a decade, I feel like it really works for me.
I think I completely relate with what you said, Sundeep, because this is exactly the way it works with me. And I started out as a solo runner myself, and a lot of people used to ask me, how can you run solo? You know, don't you get bored?
Yeah.
And my answer used to be, but that's really the time when my mind goes to work.
Yeah.
A lot of things which are unprocessed, whether it's work or any personal decisions or whatever that you're struggling with.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right. You know, after those 15-20 kilometers that you go on solo run on, when you come back, you have everything absolutely sorted in your head.
Correct.
It's like as if there's a microchip in your brain which gets activated or triggered only when you're solo and you're running.
And you know, there is a lot of people ask me at times, and
It's
I'm
like
sure
meditation.
every runner has been asked this question: what do you think when you're running?
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like how to answer that question, because there are times when I'm thinking about something really serious about those decisions.
Yeah.
But then most of the times I'm not thinking about anything. I mean, I could be thinking about my bank balance. I could be thinking about some state type that Sachin Tendulkar had played in 1998. Sometimes I could have been thinking about how nice it would have been if Titanic had not sunk. It could be anything, right? It could be anything. So that's the time when your mind is so free, it can traverse across space and time. It can go back in time. It can go forward in time.
Yeah.
It can go out of India. It can come back to India. So it is at its liberty to take the right decisions without any influence. That's point number one.
Absolutely.
Second thing about your point around purpose-led. Now, purpose has multiple connotations, right? Some people think about purpose as that larger-than-life mission wherein you are here to change something which changes the course of life for the mankind to come for years. That's not purpose for me. Of course, that could be a purpose for many. But the way I think about purpose, it's very simple. I feel like I am a very small, inconsequential cog in the wheel. In the larger scheme of things, I'm no one, right? I mean, if you think about life at large, no one knows when it started, no one knows when it ends. In the middle of that, about 70, 80 odd years I'm going to spend here. So I am nobody. If that is the case, what is the purpose? Purpose is just some kind of a commitment to a cause which is a motivation enough for you to get up in the morning, feel excited about the day ahead, feels good to be stepping out. And that to me is a purpose. Now, my purpose is very simple. I get up in the morning. I know when I go out in the morning at 5 o'clock, I don't have to force myself out of the bed. I know there is a Jyotin here, there is a Shivani, there are friends waiting in the track. And that to me itself is a big purpose in life, right? There is a joy element associated with that. It gives you a sense of clarity, it gives you a sense of control, it gives you a sense of joy, and that is what life is all about. I mean, It is meant to be enjoyed.
Correct.
It is not meant to be taken too seriously.
Absolutely.
I think that is the whole purpose, be happy. Right? And running allows me to do that.
Absolutely. And also a reason to, like you said, a reason to get out of your bed every morning.
Yeah.
It's a very, very important trigger. That
people ask us this question, right? How do you force yourself to get up in the morning at 5 o'clock? And I'm like, force yourself?
Yeah.
I mean, kabhi raat ko neend khul jati hai. If sometimes you end up waking up at, let's say, 3 a.m. and when you look at the watch, I feel like, oh, damn it, 2 more hours to go. Nothing to do, 2 more hours to go, right? So for a person like that, the question that how do you force yourself is a very disturbing question.
To not wake up. The question here is, how do you force yourself to not wake up on time?
Correct.
How can you sleep longer?
Of course. I know for a fact that people who are into it sometimes laugh when those questions get asked. But then we feel so happy. We feel such purposeful, such joy, so that's how it is.
Adding on to this purpose, if you ask me, is you are much more physically active than most of the lots who are your own professional world people who are around you. The peers who are around you. Those are the guys, when they are looking at you, they really feel that, oh, you are doing this, and still you are able to carry on with the work with us for such a long span of time, and still again you are going back in the morning and getting up at that span of time. So actually, if you ask me, yes, I really feel happy about the situation that I get up in the morning and go, but then somewhere down the line, I don't know who's getting inspired. But there are people who actually start feeling about it and they come back and they ask certain very basic unaware questions that what do you do to do that?
Correct.
You know?
And Jyotin, that takes me to the exact point that I wanted to come to. Your discipline is legendary. We all know that, right? Food, sleep, training, and not just today, not just last year, over the last 16 years. So the question is, how do you maintain this consistency over not just years but decades? What's the secret mantra there? How do you still stay so motivated? And how do you still stay so excited about it, Jyotin? That really is, is an answer a lot of us are looking for.
So when I started this, this was in around 2009. When I was in that mode of changing into the setup and working on something called as health, which people talk about, right? Oh, he started working on his health. That's the point where most of us who are actually thinking something of their own self start with. Good things when you prepare for something, then stars also help you and the world also come to you. So I got in touch with somebody, again a specialist who was a nutritionist. She was the one who mandated certain things. When during that mandate, see, let's not look at that mandate from the head that you eat this, you don't eat this, you eat this, you don't eat this. But then there were certain changes which were implemented, and I started implementing those changes like a school teacher telling a student and
like
student agreeing to it. Okay, let's accept this fact of life for 6 months. Let's see what happens after that.
It's like a regimen.
Like a regimen.
Is the regimen mindset,
So,
which is what we see in you.
So I started working on that, and I found that, I don't know, people say it is unhealthy, but in a span of 1 year, I lost almost some 30 odd kgs.
My God.
That was a year.
Yeah.
In 1 year.
Incredible.
People say wrong or right, I don't know. I find myself to be physically fit.
So that's the story of before and after, actually.
Yeah.
And that's the power of regimen.
That's the power of regimen.
So a lot of new runners or new athletes, when they are really looking for tips or when they're looking for starting their journey, and then these are the kind of points which actually create the why for them. And Sundeep, we just spoke about it, that why do you wake up so early in the morning? How can you, in your case, how can you continue doing this for 16 years? So there has to be some why.
Yeah.
And this is that why. I
Correct.
think this is, we all need a why in our lives to be able to do big things and keep on doing big things consistently.
Yeah.
There has to be a why.
Correct.
So I think this really is the why, right?
Yeah, and on a lighter note, there were so many compliments around.
Yeah.
Oh yaar, ye kya kar liya tune yaar? Oh yaar, ye kaise kar liya yaar? So that thing really pulled us.
Absolutely.
People are praising him.
Yeah.
And suddenly from a 42-inch waist to get down to a 34-inch. That was happy. That was a good time. But then, let's not look at also the way I picture myself or the way I wish to picture it. We were discussing outside also that when you get into this food dynamics, let's not look at it that, oh, you have been doing it for 16 years. No, this is the way of life.
Correct.
Right?
It's not something special.
It's not special you're doing something for your own self or for anyone else. It's the way you should actually be living your life.
Yes.
Right? It's like people say that going to a religious place, whatever food you will eat is something which only you are going to get the benefit. No one else is going to be getting benefited out of it. But that change really helped. And it changes the way you think, it changes the way you deliver yourself. So that's been the whole journey. I don't...
And you liked this version of yourself so much then that you would never allow yourself to slip back.
Absolutely. And let me tell you. Sorry.
And it becomes a way of
Yeah, I'm getting emotional about it now, right? No, the 2 minutes. So what else is, yes, in between I digressed. Not that it's a situation that I digressed into something very bad, but then that's the way we live and that's the way we are in our societies and environment. There are situations where you just can't avoid yourself. But then when you do this activity, certainly your body reacts. And then you find, oh, what is good and what is not good for you. And that's how it happened. And I have been trying to carry it on. And also, I don't know, this I feel in my head could be true for me, not for anyone else, but I feel should be the way of life. It's either this or this. Yes. It can't be and. Yeah. It will not work on an and. You live your life like this or you live your life like this. If you are on the middle path,
it's neither.
Yeah.
You will not become a pole star.
Let's jump to the very different but equally inspiring aspect of both of your journeys. Both of you run the boardrooms, right? Now, as senior professionals managing very complex decision making and very high stakes roles that you guys play at both your workplaces, how has your running mindset influenced the way you lead people?
So see, I'll tell you, for me, the way it works is that there are times when you're doing some really complex projects, like spanning across 2, 3, 4, 5 odd years, and you are in the second year, and you find yourself in a moment wherein you feel like this project is not going the right way, and there is no way we can come out of it because of whatever circumstantial constraints or whatever you're facing. Now, as an endurance athlete, you know that even if the whole path ahead is not clear to you, you don't need to worry. You don't need to see the full staircase. You just need to take the first next step. Right? If that mindset is something that you internalize, everything becomes very easy. We are all people who have a tendency to look just within the myopic spectrum of where you are at a particular point in time. We sometimes don't see the bigger picture. We don't try to see the North Star, which is very far ahead. But as an endurance athlete, when you run those marathons and ultra marathons, when you're running 100 kilometers and whatnot, at the first or second kilometer, you don't see the whole journey, but you just trust the process. And the process is very simple. It's just about putting one step forward and then the next and then the next. And eventually, if you keep doing that repetitively, iteratively, recursively, you will reach where you ought to reach. That has helped me a lot in many complex projects. When the going gets tough, don't try to solve for or visualize the whole path. Just solve for the next step. And the next step usually is not that difficult because it's a single step. As soon as you take that next step, it is in the past. And you don't need to look behind. Then you focus on the next step. Take that, make it in the past, take the next step. And that's the endurance mindset, right?
Absolutely.
Keep moving, one step at a time,
very well
and keep
said.
moving.
Extremely well said, Sundeep. In fact, why Jyotin and I just exchanged a smile is because we have a phrase between us, which is one step at a time.
One step at a time.
So many times when I'm floundering, then he reminds me of one step at a time, and I do the same. So there have been those moments where...
I remember that meeting. I was actually feeling, not very confident to go and attempt a run. And I had gone through some medical things. So
challenge at that time.
I had medical challenge going on. So I had thought that I will not go. So we were just having a cup of coffee together. And at that time she said, "Karna kya hai? One step at a time." मैंने बोला कि one step at a time, और तो काम ऐसे कुछ है नहीं.
That's all.
करना क्या वहाँ पे जाके? We don't have to do anything.
And
that phrase caught up actually, and it really triggered, and I could finish that.
It wasn't exactly what you said. It wasn't 42 kilometers. It was just one step at a time.
Correct.
Let's take one step at a time.
One step is easy, right?
And that's it.
One step is easy, and that's the endurance mindset. I mean, there are times when I was running 100 half marathons in 100 days. I will always fool myself. I told myself that running 100 half marathons seems like a big task. I don't think I can manage that. Then I asked myself, can I manage 10 kilometers rather than 10 half marathons? The answer was yes. Then I told myself, let's do that task 10 times. Let's run 10 half marathons, 10 days, 10 times. And then to your point about, when you were not feeling great about something and one step at a time. The other endurance mantra that I've always seen working in life at large is that not showing up is not an option.
Absolutely.
You have to show up.
Absolutely.
It's okay to flunk. It's okay to falter. It's okay to fall. But not showing up is not okay. The NDM that just went by in February, the one that we had about a couple of months back, I was running fever before that. I was down with 102 fever on that Thursday and then 103 or something on Friday. And I was like, what the hell? I've been preparing for it for so long. And I was attempting my third BQ this time around. The night before the run, my well-wishers, my family, they told me that marathons are not run coughing and huffing. You need to be fit. I was like, okay, that's fine. So I will not complete the run because you feel like I might not be able to do basis the health that I'm in, but I will show up. Not showing up is not an option. I mean, I am not so ill that I won't even show up to the start line. I will start the run. If I feel like it's not happening, I will step out of the run, but not showing up is not an option. I just said that and I went there. And I made it a promise to myself that I'm not going to look at the watch because this is not the day for a PB or a BQ or all of that. Prior to that run, my personal best, was 3 hours 4 minutes for a full marathon. And here I was like coming from sickness and fever and my nose was blowing and I was carrying small tissues in my pocket just so that I can clear my nose and all of that. That was the situation I was in. But I showed up. I didn't look at the watch throughout the run. I finished the run in 3 hours 2 minutes. 2 minutes faster than what I had ever managed at the peak of my fitness. That's the power of showing up. And that works in life.
Yeah.
In life.
Incredible.
In relationships.
Absolutely.
In relationships, in life, in
Yeah.
corporate relationships, in whatever. You have to show up. That's all. Simple.
You just keep showing up.
Yeah, to the corporate world, I think
Yeah.
I think he has put it in the best possible way in terms of how it is being related to us. In my experience, in our business operations, we always have something where we say that we will have to go and support people. Why? Because there is something which is internal that you need and come and go and support. But then there is something called as an industry format. In our industry format, you will have to go inside that industry
Correct.
and go and support a bigger cause than only supporting your own organization and your own self.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's the
activity
ecosystem,
also.
absolutely.
Yeah, so in that format, it is not only related only that you perform as a manufacturing setup.
Yeah.
Your manufacturing setup would obviously be required to calibrate with rest of the few of the competitions around, and then that becomes a bigger industry so that they are able to serve the entire purpose.
Correct.
Totally.
But that setup itself also, we had been discussing this thing quite often in our industry formats and anything. But then, of course, not being a runner, but this kind of a mindset really gets into you.
Exactly.
Because with people around, with so many friends around, so many people helping you always, if you are even short of water, they'll give you a water, or if not water, they'll give you a gel on the path, on your run when you're almost nearing in that. So that's a deep feeling which gets inside you.
Yes.
Anyone who's not doing it, I feel that they should come out.
Yeah.
They should please do it.
I think it's at the very core the spirit of camaraderie or the
Absolutely.
sportsmanship spirit
Absolutely.
that gets built in. I think that traverses across every aspect of our lives.
Correct.
It's not limited just to the sport that we play.
Of course.
And like you said, it shows up in relationships, it shows up
In
at
everything.
work,
In
it shows up in
everything.
friendships, it shows up as a parent.
I have seen so many youngsters, right?
Across,
There will be times in your corporate life, in your professional life, when the going gets tough.
Yeah.
The simplest way out for them is change the job.
Absolutely.
And I always tell them,
Absolutely.
no, that's not the simplest
That's
path.
not the way.
That's a very convoluted path.
Correct.
The simplest path is just show up,
Just show
face
up.
the music,
Just show up.
go through it, and you will come out stronger. It's been 18 years in my current firm, and it's my first job.
Wow.
That is not to say that in these 18 years I have never thought about moving on, but every time that thought came to me, I reminded myself that even if I have to move on, I will not move on at a time when I'm facing the challenge. I'll fix it and move on.
Absolutely.
I'll show up. And when the challenge gets addressed, anyways, you don't think about moving on, right? So that has kept me moving.
That's a pretty good strategy.
I agree.